Welcome to Peak Health Revolution. My name is Logan Grundy, and today we're going to be going over a stretching routine that's going to take you about 15 minutes and take you from head to toe. So we're going to get into that right away. What you're going to need for this is something similar to this. You can also use your couch or something about this height, like a chair or something, and that is all you're going to need. You can use this, and I will show you one other variation of one of them where you can use a chair or the top of a couch or something like that, or even a desk or a table. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the couch stretch. So what we want to do is set this up. We're going to drop our leg down onto that. We're going to start low. If you're feeling a stretch through here already from here, definitely just hang out here. If you can get up into a position like this, move your way on up. If you can get up even beyond that, then go even higher than that. Whatever's comfortable for you, do that. And then what you want to do is just sit into this, and what you'll feel is a stretch through your quad. And if you squeeze through your glute, you'll feel even more of a stretch through there. And then relax that glute, squeeze it, relax, and follow along with your breath. So basically take an inhale, squeeze and hold your breath and squeeze your glute. Exhale, relax, and try and get deeper into that stretch at the same time. And we're going to do that on both sides. If you can't get into this, what you can do is just like a lunge stretch variation of that. So sitting here like this, rotate your hips back so that your tailbone's tucking under, and you should feel a stretch through the front of that leg as well. So that's going to be our first stretch that we're going to do, is the couch stretch. So getting into it, sitting up like this, nice and tall if you can. If not, you can be a little bit lower down. Go to wherever you start to feel that stretch. Don't feel like you have to force your way all the way up here, because a lot of times if you can't get up there, you're going to compromise the position of your lower back and your hips to try and get into this position. So couch stretch number one. We'll switch over. We'll do the other side now. So you can do this up against a wall. You can do this with a Swiss ball or exercise ball, something like this, like a little stool. And as the name says, you can also use your couch. Basically just a leg down on the ground, and then your couch would be here. Or you can even do it all the way up on the couch, where this would be up against the back side, where your back would go on the couch. So all of those are going to be options for you to do it. Basically something where you can get this back leg up is all that matters. And then you're just going to sit into this. We're just doing about a minute each side here, but what I would suggest, if you have the time, is spend more time during your day than just 1 minute per day on this, just because a lot of us spend a lot of time seated. This is going to help open up our hips and counter all that time that we spend sitting. So maybe you watch a show each evening or something like that. It's a perfect time, instead of just sitting into that chair, sit down or get down on the ground and stretch this out instead while you're watching your show or talking with your family or whatever you're doing in the evenings. This is a great way to counter your full day of being at the desk. So that's our first exercise that we're doing. The next one we're going to do is going to work opposite of that. We're going to work on the back side of the legs. So what we want to do is get into a position kind of similar to this, but a bit of a lunge position. We're going to go all the way forward, and then we're going to rock back and then forward and back like that. And what you'll feel is, you might feel this through your back, you might feel this through your glute, you might feel this through your hamstring or your calf. Anywhere that you feel it is fine. The point is that it's stretching that whole area, and it's going to go to the tightest of those areas. This also acts as a bit of a nerve floss, so basically allowing that nerve to move just a little bit. And if you get anything like sciatic pain, this can be helpful for that. You just want to make sure that you don't push it too hard and irritate that nerve. So we'll switch over to the other side here. You'll also notice that this can be good for the front of the opposite hip when you're in that front position. Good. That's looking awesome. Next one, what we're gonna do is we are just going to stretch our groin a little bit. It's a nice easy rock to each side like this. So you'll notice some of these are more static stretching, where you're just holding one position for a longer period of time, like the couch stretch at the start there, or you get into stuff that's a little bit more dynamic and moving in and out of positions, like the last two that we're doing here. And both are fine, both have their purpose. If this one feels good for you, that's awesome. If you want to take it a little bit further, all you have to do to get a bit more of a stretch is just go straight leg here and then rock your way back and forth, and you should find you get a little bit more of a stretch with this one than the previous version. So do whichever one feels best for you. Next one that we're going to do is the prayer stretch. So it's going to end up stretching out kind of this area in here. So as it sounds, kind of acting, looking as though you're going to pray, but then you're just going to drop your head down between your stool or whatever you have, a chair, a bed, a desk, whatever you have. And you'll feel that stretching through your lats, so kind of just under your armpits and down your back. And one big piece is not to arch your back too much with this, but kind of keep it most kind of flat or as close to as you can. If you sink really deep into it, you're not going to get the same stretch as if you keep it kind of in that more neutral position. Now, if you'd rather not get down onto your knees to do that one, you don't like how that feels, what you can do is grab a chair or something that's a higher height. So maybe you have like a, what's it called? Like a breakfast kind of area, counter thing in your kitchen. And you can basically do like a standing variation of this with a straight arm, and it's also going to stretch you out. And you can just lean a little bit side to side here. So when I lean to this side and drop that left side, what I find is you're going to get more of a stretch on that left side. Same thing here, more on the right side. So that allows you to, if you want to do both at the same time, this is great. If you want to try and get a bit deeper into it, just roll it to one side a little bit and try and drop into that a little bit deeper. And that's going to be an awesome stretch for those lats. They tend to get quite tight on a lot of people. So that's one that you always want to work on as well. The next one that we're going to do is just a simple pigeon pose. So you're going to sit back into it like this. This leg's going to come across and in front of you. If you can go straight in this, that's great. If you can't and you're tucked in, that's okay as well. Just find what's comfortable for you. And then you can either choose to stay high. You can come down onto your hands and your elbows here. Or you can even drop right down into it. Really just depends on what you want to do and what you feels good for you. Another great option here is to move in and out of it, coming up and down and then changing your angle a little bit and seeing like, where do I get the best stretch with this? Play around at the start, and then once you find where that spot is that you get the best stretch, then sit in and hang out in that spot. So we'll hang out here a little bit longer. This is a great one if you have the extra time to just pause the video and spend extra time in this. This and the couch stretch, that very first stretch, both we could definitely spend 2 to 3 minutes on each side if you have that time to do that each day. And now we'll head on over to the other side here. And when we spend a lot of time sitting, getting into the glute and that front of the leg is really important, because we sit down on our glutes all the time and kind of like mash that tissue, stick it all together with the weight of our body by sitting in the chair all day. And then the hips are obviously in their kind of shortened position. So the combination of the two can cause a lot of back and hip pain for us. So we want to open up those hip flexors and then get into that glute tissue. It's not so much, yes, we want to stretch it like what we're doing now, but we also want to get in there and just basically, whether we're stretching it, doing ball work, foam rolling work, basically trying to just break it up and move it so that it's not always just in that squished kind of position that we get into a lot of the time from being on the chair. All right, now we're gonna finish up with one for our upper body. There's a lot of ways that you can stretch your pecs. One of my favorite is to just use the corner on a wall, because you can get both sides at the same time, and it's really easy to adjust the amount of pressure that you put into it. So what we want to do is just stagger our stance so that we control how far forward we're leaning, and then sink into it. With our chest, one of the big things that I think a lot of people do is really try and stretch it too hard. Like, you want this to be just to the point where there's a light pull on your chest, on your pecs here. And you just control that by how far forward you put your weight. So if you don't have a corner, you can also do this. If you just have like the end of a wall, like the opposite of this corner, if you have the other kind of corner, you can do one arm at a time. This is just nice because it allows you to do both at the same time. And it's a really good time to look at and feel and notice, like, do I feel this pulling more on one shoulder or one pec than the other? And just notice side to side differences through pretty much all of these exercises is going to benefit you to start to just become more aware of your body and see where those imbalances are. If you find that you start to go numb through the arm and into the hand, it's pretty normal. Basically, all that's happening there is you're putting this back here, and it's just creating some pressure here. Once you come forward and off of them, you're going to feel that return. And that's just really telling us that there's a little bit more tension and pressure there than what we want. And over time, getting that stretching, doing this work, that's going to get better. That is our routine for today. So spend some extra time, if you have it, on the couch stretch and the pigeon pose there. That's going to really benefit you.